I was not a very bright student. I kept failing in various exams. I failed in 11th and then failed in 12th again. It was very gutsy for me to even say to myself that I can be an actor. Like, effortless acting is not effortless acting. I have no journey. I have not grown as an artist, as a professional, as a human. I've just been a nanny to you. I'm worried for my child. You cannot force your reality onto him.
We're all regular people who live regular lives. And the reason why we watch content is because we want to see people whom we relate with, who we connect with, and sometimes we aspire to be. But it's the first kind, the people we relate with, who feel like us. So we want to watch them because it somehow feels like there's a connection there. Those are, for me, the most interesting people. And Sumeet Vyas is that person. Sumeet Vyas, for me, has played characters, has directed characters, who feel innately like people we're surrounded by. And he's my guest today on Take a Pause. But before I go there, before we get into my chat with him, because we spoke about so many things, I want to make sure you click on subscribe and also ring that bell icon and go straight into my chat with Sumeet. The trickiest question always is, what is the first question? I want to start asking you, how are you feeling?
Good. Yeah, I'm good. And generally, there is a quote by Jack Nicholson where someone asked him, describe yourself. And he said, I'm the kind of guy who would go to great lengths to be in a good mood. And I was like, yes, he summed up what I'm all about also. I go to great lengths to be in a good mood.
Yeah. What all do you do to be in a good mood?
I mean, I've left work, people, places. I go to great lengths to be in a good mood.
Yeah. That's an interesting point, no? Because I think for so many of us, we're so worried.
Yeah.
Yaar, if I leave this, what will happen?
Yeah.
Take a manage kar lunga. I'll let things go as they are. You also feel the pressure of, this is what the world around me requires. This is what my profession requires. This is what home requires. Main kar lunga. Which means that then you are constantly crushing yourself down to seeming like you are in okay mood, but inside you're not.
Yeah. No, I manage that pretty well. It's very important for me to, I think, so I've been acting or whatever, doing this thing that I do since 2000. People only got to know a little bit about me in 2014. So, and they think that was when
overnight success.
Overnight success. तब launch हो गया मैं.
वो बॉम्बे का मेन सीन है ना कि everybody is an overnight success.
Overnight success.
But overnight success कितने साल लगा? Nobody talks about
it. So, but in last 5-6 years, I realized that I have very little control over how things are going to pan out, especially films. And that's what I do. Or if people are going to like it, and But what I take home is the experience I had when I was making it, whether as an actor or a writer or now a director. So I make sure that वो अच्छा होना चाहिए. Even if work is not all that great, it doesn't become a hit and people don't like it or whatever, I have very little control. I try to do my best. But I choose the right people. If I feel that ये लोग मेरे को उतना नहीं जम रहे पर पैसा अच्छा है, I let go of it. जानते कुछ और कर लेंगे.
What did you want to be when you were growing up?
Many things. Growing up, as in I started working very early. Before I joined a theatre company in.
But when you were a kid, let's say that when you were very young, very in your childhood.
Oh, a lot of things. Pilot. Want to be a pilot.
Bachpan kahan tha? Where was childhood?
Mumbai. I came to Mumbai when I was 4 years old. My parents are from Jodhpur. We are from Jodhpur. But my father moved to Mumbai in, I think, sort of moved in 81, 82, then 83. That's when I was born. Then he wanted to set his base here. And my sister was born. And so my parents decided to move here, but leave me with my Nana Nani. because they needed like at least a year or two to like figure
Settle,
out their
yeah,
life and So up till 4.5 I was there, and then I moved here. I moved to this place called Bhinder. That's where I grew up. All my childhood happened in Bhinder.
Yeah.
And 99 or 98 is when we moved to Andheri, proper suburb.
Yeah. Yeah. When was the first time you said, hey, acting karna hai, I want to work in this space? Is that the Andheri factor? Is because Andheri mein ek se na ki
Andheri mein, haan. I was actually not very exposed to a lot of filminess. My father is a writer. He had written TV shows, and he's also from the National School of Drama. But growing up, because we lived in Bhinder, there's nothing filmy in Bhinder. It's a very like regular, lower middle class locality that we grew up in. So for us, Dad writes. We didn't know what that means. He writes. Sometimes he would watch TV shows and his name would appear in the credits. And like, oh, that's my daddy's name. That was all the exposure we had. He never went to parties, never took us to parties, so we didn't know. Even when we moved to Andheri, I was not a very bright student. I kept failing in various exams. So after I failed in 12th, I failed in 11th and then failed in 12th again. I got some 80 KT or something. I only went and told him कि ये तो नहीं हो रहा है मुझसे. I can't. I don't know how to do this. So he was finding what I can do, and at the time he was writing the show called Rishte on ZTV. And Rishte used to be edited in a small editing studio here in Lakshmi Industrial Estate.
What are you saying?
And this is a very posh locality now, but back in the day it had only galas. Like those छोटे गाले थे, फैक्ट्रियाँ होती थी. श्रीजी जो लक्ष्मी छाया जो रेस्टोरेंट है वो छाया. तो एंड हिज डायरेक्टर सेड कि वो वहाँ एडिटिंग होता है, वहाँ उसको इंटर्न लगा दो, क्या पता वहाँ करते करते कुछ सीख ही जाएगा. सो आई used to just go there and sit in front of these monitors, and digital editing had just come into the picture.
टेप पे होता था उस टाइम.
टेप पे होता, DG बीटा पे. तो I used to work here. I worked here for a good 1 year or so at like 16, 17. Like, eventually I got a hang of it. Those days we used to edit countdown shows. Countdown shows is a big thing.
Correct.
एक गाना आता है, फिर बीच में एक छोटी कहानी, फिर एक गाना, फिर कहानी. So we used to edit that. Bunch of other things. So during that period is when I thought I could be an actor. Because my editor, the senior editor, often we have a lot of time. There'd be days when I'd just be locked in the gala and I would tell him stories, and I would watch the edit of TV shows, and I'm like, hey, why did you do this? And he should have done this. And how about this story went this way? Like, just think about this story. He came in and, I tell my version of the story. And he said that you should act. And I'm like, and I was also a pretty plumb kid at the time. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think it was very gutsy for me to even say to myself that I can be an actor.
Were you confident?
No, not at all.
No?
I still am not fully. There are only few things that I'm sure of. Now acting is one of them after 2.5 decades. But no, not at all. And then I went to watch this one play, which is like a theatre festival of sorts. And my father was acting in it. And that's the first time he said, "Do you want to come and watch the play?" I'm like, yeah. I went and I saw him. I went to Prithvi for the first time after being, I think for the first time, I would say. Went backstage, saw him sitting in the light room with the script, wearing a dhoti, reading his lines, nervous. And I had never seen my father in that light. It was an out-of-body experience for me.
Yeah.
And it was okay, I'll tell you what happened. From the light booth, there is a window from which the light people see the actors.
Yeah.
And there was one actor rehearsing on stage. And the lightman was doing his light changes. And I have a distinct image of that actor. And I was like, I want to be here. I think that's how it happened. or maybe now, or maybe now this version makes most sense to me.
Yeah.
But somewhere that day, I came back home and I said, I want to be an actor.
There's this question people have, na, ki everyone assumes ki if you want to be an actor, you are naturally a confident person. Like, itne लोगों के सामने आ रहे हो, बड़ा crew है, या you're on a stage.
Yeah.
But the more actors I have met, I've realized that most actors, and I actually feel some of the better actors are not necessarily very social, not necessarily even the most confident. It almost feels like, oh, internalize ही हो रहा है सब कुछ.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk about just that process, because if at that point you said, you had thoughts about your physicality, you had also things like, I want to do this.
Yeah.
There's certain amount of that, I don't know, that failure of 11th and 12th was somewhere in your head.
Yeah.
वो थोड़ा रहता है, some baggage will stay. I failed through many years of my engineering, so I totally understand where that comes from. How do you push yourself to do something which means that abhi tak you haven't been able to push yourself? Now you're pushing yourself now to be in front of so many more people.
Yeah.
How do you make that shift to like push yourself beyond that?
I think what happened is the first few occasions are this, when you are aware of these people are watching me, what will they think of me and all of that. But as like if you're genuinely interested in the craft of acting, which I was and still am, then it is the greatest escape. I feel a lot of actors, let me just talk about myself. I find my core very dull and quite bland. So I find it, I love the escape of being someone else, thinking like someone else, being in someone else's shoe. It's a dream. So, and I don't think any other profession offers you that, where you could you're uncomfortable in your own skin and you can just be someone else. Yeah. And now with, all these years of work and whatever, I'm also at that place where I can kind of choose to do. So I had these phases of, I feel this, I want to express this. So I start looking at parts which would help me do that.
Yeah.
I don't care what show they're making or what film they're making, beyond a point. Like, mere ko bhi ye karna hai.
Yeah.
Like, there was a phase when I really wanted the comic in me to come out. I felt funny. I felt really funny.
Yeah.
I just couldn't fathom that people don't see that there's so much humor around us. So I did a lot of that. Then there was this last few years have been this phase where I wanted to explore the darker side of my own personality, and I had over the years built up a lot of angst, as most humans do, and I didn't want it to come out anywhere else but this. So I have this outlet where I look for parts where I could just let all this,
almost like
black swan free.
It's like a space to release all of that.
Yeah.
For me, that is this. When I do the podcast, for me, I get to have a conversation with different people every time.
Yeah.
So a lot of times I will choose someone because I want to talk about this to someone. Like, I want to talk about it. It's internalized. For me, it's not internalizing. I'm just letting it go. Abhi bol diya, it's out there. I go back home.
Yes.
The standard joke at home is that my wife Pooja knows exactly how the chat went. Ki, yaar, acha gaya, bura gaya, you still didn't get it all out.
Yeah.
It's almost like she's reacting like how I've been to a therapy session. It's almost like that. I'm guessing acting is therapy for you.
It is. It really is.
Yeah.
It's a catharsis.
Do you think that is what most people miss? I think of actors today, and there's this whole conversation, right? Ki, say that every actor needs to have this kind of social media following. I mean, the body banalo part has been there for a long time, so that is not even that. वो dated हो गया. तो social media following कर लो. You have to be a certain kind.
Yeah.
In between all of that, media training हो रही है, everything. But the core essence of what you do is to act. That kind of gets lost nowadays, no?
It does, but I'll tell you, this has always been the case. For years and years, there have been a breed of people who were interested in the craft, and there've always been a breed of people who wanted to cash in. cash in from this, cash in from film, from a role, become famous. So their attention was there. And they found novel ways of doing that. So I have very little complaint over that. I mean, good for them, you know. Like some of them, I look at them and I'm like, they're making a lot of money, man. I wish. But I don't have it in me to be that person. I wish I could just like bear my life out on the gram and just show them when I woke up and what I ate. And, you know, I do like sharing on and off. It's a great place to share things, thoughts. But beyond that, I don't think it's like call centers. When I was young, when I was in college, call centers had just come in. You know, people are going crazy about it. And some of my college classmates worked in the call center.
I worked in one,
And that time they used to make like 20, 30,000, 40,000 rupees a month. And there was a huge amount. They would have the latest clothes and watches, and they were sleeping in the class because they'd be talking in American accent in the night, and you know. And I was like, man, this is crazy. I was making 200 rupees for a play. So the difference is quite vast. But even then I thought that where does it go from here? You would do this, but like, what will you become after 10 years? I don't know. So, and similar is the question with this. Like, if you genuinely don't have something to offer, what will you become after 2 years, 3 years? People get bored. Like, there have been so many people I also follow on Instagram and Twitter, which are very interesting. And then after a point, I'm like, bore ho raha hai.
Wahi ho raha hai.
Wahi ho raha hai. So, yeah, that is the thing, you know. If you have a craft which can last you a lifetime, like my craft, I'm not here to do something and then I'm here to. Sorry.
No, you can
again.
Yeah.
I'm going to do this. Successfully or unsuccessfully, I'm going to be telling stories and acting till my body gives up on me. So that I know, I'm going to do that. Somewhere or the other, मैं किधर कुछ तो ढूंढ लूँगा.
I think back on your I remember the first couple of times I remember watching you on screen, right? There was the English wala role. But I go back to permanent roommates many times, and even the couple of ones after that as well, like tripling, etc. People can play exaggerated roles. You, for me at that point of time, and I think still are to some extent in my head, someone who played there is a everyday person, everyday man in India who's not loud. So thoda is understated, underconfident, also has a little bit of a random kida for weird things. Because I feel bahut baar na, the caricature of the Indian man of today, who's maybe, let's say, 30s, now 40s, that picture is not right. And that relatability somehow went away. And I feel that you played that character so well because that was actually how men are, right? We like random things which make no sense. We want to go for 1 hour away to have that one Manchurian somewhere. Or you want to wake up in the morning and do random things for no reason. The whimsicalness of the young Indian man, and now sadly getting older Indian man, because I'm 40 plus now, and I also have seen that change for myself. I always found that to be the most relatable thing, is that you got that so bang on every time, because that's how we are. Na? I think that's what made it so, like, not just likable, but relatable for everyone. And I mean, a lot of it was in the writing. Vishwapati Sarkar had great insights. I also learned a lot from him, from his writing, of just the number of things that he would observe, the little things and the bigger things, and which we had almost forgotten, which like back in the day, Basu Chatterjee film, Rishikesh Mukherjee films, they were all about that. You know, they were deep observations of human behavior. The small things.
And how, even the bigger things impact humans. It was not much about the event. It was about what happens to you after the event.
Yeah.
That's most interesting. To a lot of it was that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was lucky enough to be there, and I was also finding my own footing as an actor, not in terms of popularity, but just just the craft of it. Everybody has to find उनका एक सुर होता है.
Yeah.
आपका क्या सुर है? What ticks? What makes most sense to you? So I found that note that I was looking for.
Yeah.
And I got to fully express it there, like really go out with it. And I mean, to the extent that even now, today, people think I am that person.
You are Mikesh.
I'm Mikesh. And good, yeah. Very few people get this in life.
Yeah.
So there's no problem with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that part, that entire phase of, I think that's why also things worked out.
Yeah.
Because I was able to find something.
If you think of that phase, right? Obviously, it took you some time to come to that phase.
Yeah.
And I want to go there as well.
Mm-hmm.
But if you think of that phase, it's almost like if I think of that time, the way people were portrayed, let's say in a TV serial, etc., everything was exaggerated. No?
Yeah.
We've all grown up with those shows. Not grown up as older, but it could see that the was not go anywhere. Right? We have done crash zooms, suddenly feeling like, okay, this is feeling normal. But I think most people don't understand that showing something that is normal in a way that you will consume it is actually tougher.
Yeah. It's, there's this thing I tell a lot. These days I also go and talk a little bit at theatre workshops and acting workshops with newer and younger actors. And like, effortless acting is not effortless acting.
It's a lot of
It is more effort to make it look effortless.
Yeah.
It's not like Roger Federer plays tennis like it's easy. He's put in that much hard work that he makes it look easy. It's not easy.
Yeah.
So, that for me, it's very important that one shouldn't make out. My job is to make you believe that this is happening now. I'm lying to you.
Yeah.
This is not a true story.
Yeah.
But now I will make you believe it's true.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you how, because I made myself believe it's true. For the time duration that I'm doing this, I've tricked my brain into thinking this is my truth. This is who I am. I love this person. I hate this person. This is where I live. These are my cups. So, and I go to those lengths to make you believe that.
Yeah.
So I think it's that.
Yeah. And now I was talking to you before we started about Raat, Jawaan Hai, right? As a parent, and I've been a parent now for 7.5 years. I remember 2017, I became a father. And at that time, I remember going out there and trying to find things as a father. What am I supposed to do? Right? Because everyone's very easily telling mothers, this is the things you got to do. You go on YouTube, बहुत सारा content मिलेगा.
Yeah.
All the books are there. What does a father have to do? I could not find anything. कुछ नहीं मिला था. एक ऐप मिला था. वो एक ऐप में क्या था? Every day one daily prompt saying, today this is how you help your wife. Nothing beyond that. And I remember that I was saying, यार कुछ तो होगा. And I remember that when that happened, and we had a daughter, and after the first month where I couldn't figure out what, that first month is like Big Boss, right? कुछ idea नहीं क्या चल रहा है. And no one's prepared you for this.
नहीं.
Did you feel prepared?
No. Not prepared. I felt overconfident. I felt like I got this. I know what I'm going to do. And then I just got bajad for a good 2-3 months. Which,
it's like life has changed. Like,
and because the mothers really have the worst of it, because their bodies have gone through so much. And child is so physically dependent on them. So वो भी बहुत tough था, and I could see she's struggling, but and like in acting, in life also, I make things look effortless. So that is also an annoying part for people around. They feel like he's not putting any effort. I'm actually putting effort, but I'm making it look effortless. Then I cracked it and said, no, you have to make it. People have to know that you've made an effort.
Yeah.
Like, When I started working in the theatre company, बहुत बार मैं backstage करता था तो ऐसा होता था कि मैं मेहनत करके बैठा ही हूँ और उसी समय
कोई आ गया.
हमारी गुरु आती थी, नादर जी, and she would say that तू हमेशा बैठा रहता है और ये लोग काम करते हैं. Then I understood, no, you have to be seen working. That is equally important. Perhaps more important. So then I'd make sure I should sense कि अरे वो आ रही है क्या? I'd suddenly pick up some work and look busy. So then I started doing that at home and it worked.
When I saw the show, it was the first time, because I think the problem now is that there's so much content on parenting.
Oh yeah.
But everything is global. मतलब सब कुछ, मतलब gentle parenting से लेके everything we have now learned, because you've gotten this like मतलब भर के content. But the reality of an Indian parent and context, modern Indian parent, where mom and dad also have a different equation. It's not like how it was, let's say, even a generation before. When I saw the show, like first time I saw depiction visually as well as just from a script point of view, so many smaller things. And I remember when I called you and I mentioned that one scene, I think it's in first or second episode, where I don't think anybody else does this. People will correct me. जब बच्चा सोता है ना, we put that one pillow next to the kid on the bed. Because हम लोग crib में नहीं डालते. We put the kid always on our bed. We put that one pillow next to it, which is the most classical Indian parenting to do. गद्दा लगा दो, बच्चा गिरेगा नहीं. And I was like, this shows that it was made by parents. There is no way a non-parent will get that context. I wanted to talk about the show just from the process of making it, but what was it like for someone who's been through this parenting journey recently to then making a show about parents in India? I just want to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, it was great. And like you said, I mean, it was made by parents. Khyati Anand, the writer, her son and my son play in the park together. That's how we met.
And that's where now those scenes make sense.
Yeah.
Meeting in the park.
So she generally goes and writes at this cafe. Our dear friend Rajat Barmecha, he's an actor, very accomplished actor. He runs a small cafe. She would go there and sit, and I would also often go there close to my house. And she one day said that, hey, you're Sumeet, right? I said, yeah. And it's like, our children play together. It's like, I've written a show. Would you direct it or what? And I was like, yeah. अभी तो मैं सैंडविच लेके जा रहा हूँ अपनी बीवी के लिए क्योंकि उसका बर्थडे है, बट आप मुझे मेल कर दो, मैं पढ़ लेता हूँ. And then I read and I loved it. Met the producer who's also a young parent. Met the costume designer who's also a young parent. This was not intentional. This all just happened. Met the sound designer who's also a young parent. And every time we would meet a new technician on the show, they'd sit and first 1 hour would just be like, oh, you know, my guy or my girl did this now, and you know, usne ye kiya aur mere wale ne ye kiya. So eventually we put a crew together, and I had all these years of working, I had certain things that I was very, very particular about. And thankfully I found like-minded people, like-minded producer, more to say, because he understood that. I didn't want people to yell on the set. Kids or no kids, I don't like that. I want to finish work in time. I want to go home. I want everybody to go home and rest and come back the next day. I feel you're more productive like that. कुछ लोगों को मैंने देखा है, जब तक लोग खून के आंसू नहीं रोते तब तो उनको लगता है सिनेमा नहीं बनता. I don't believe in that. And I knew that there'd be kids, and I said we might take more time with the kids because we'll have to be very, very sensitive as to how we are making them. So we would plan scenes around their sleep schedules. I sent my ADs to talk to their parents, say कि वो दोपहर को कितने बजे सोता है, कितने बजे उठता है. Being a new parent, I knew that, like the scene that you mentioned, Varun has to put the kid to sleep. So we figured out his afternoon sleep schedule time, and right after his lunch or something, I said, now he'll get a little dozy. I said, Varun, you have to put him to sleep. So let's see. The putting to sleep part was not in the script. I said, but if you're able to do it, we'll keep rolling. And let's see how far we can go with this. So he actually put him to sleep. and it's not his kid. So we were all very, very sensitive about that. I found 3 great actors, Varun, Anjali, and Priya Bhapat. We found a great DOP who's worked really hard, who's a very senior DOP, very accomplished, Jay Patel. He shot like Sam Bahadur and Razi, and shot some very big films. He's a friend. He was kind enough to be part of this show. And poor guy had to be like, but especially with kids, you don't know when they do what. Correct. So he have to just keep rolling. You know, I think his back gave up by the end of it. But it was a great, great experience. I think the environment we were able to create on set was the kind where people would look forward to come to work the next day. It was very important that everybody looked forward and wanted to, felt like it's their baby. They have to make it work. And I think that also reflects in the viewing experience of it. When people watch it, they're at ease. You know, I didn't want, मुझे जल्दी नहीं करना था. जल्दी तो रील देख ही रहे हैं ना 30 सेकंड में, तो फिर हम तो रील नहीं बना रहे, हम कहानी सुना रहे हैं. Someone has half an hour, then here is this thing, you can watch it.
For me, the core of the show, and something which, and funnily enough, found the show at a time, and that's a question which always happens. So I have my second kid 2.5 years ago. So I have a 7.5-year-old, 2.5-year-old. So
oh my God.
It's a full house. Like
full house.
2 kids, 2 dogs.
Oh wow.
Both parents work. So it's like a full like circus. In between all of that now, it is very easy for you to lose your own identity. Is your work your identity? Is your relationship with your partner your identity? Kids take over everything. So being a parent is your identity. At some point, mera kya is a question you sometimes feel guilty to ask.
Yes.
And I've spent so much time talking to parents in the last year because of what I do professionally. And I think the most predominant emotion is just guilt. Ya to guilt about I'm not doing enough for my kid, or guilt about I'm not doing enough for myself. And it's like, oh, पिस जाते हैं बीच में. I actually want to ask you personally, have you felt at times fluctuating between this?
Yeah, I did. I'll tell you, there was once I was having this argument/discussion with my wife. There are times when you're really busy and you're really occupied, and we were talking about time management and how you need to be more, present. And I said this classic line that I've heard, ये सब मैं इनके लिए तो कर रहा हूँ, तुम्हारे और बच्चों के लिए. And then I said, sorry, correction. नहीं, ये सब मैं सिर्फ तुम्हारे और बच्चे के लिए नहीं कर रहा हूँ. A part of it is for you all, and a part of it is also for me. And I'm not guilty about it. Because he's going to grow up and he's going to ask me, what is your journey like? I'm not going to tell him that I have no journey. I have not grown as an artist, as a professional, as a human. I've just been a nanny to you. That can't be the explanation. So I did everything and some more for you. But I also did some for myself. And it's equally important for me. And there's no shame in doing that.
And if you don't express that, I think what you just said is so important to express. Because बहुत बार क्या होता है ना, that frustration that I feel a lot of people feel, and I know that women feel that a lot too, because as spoken to, I think men feel that in a very different way. There was this interesting study I was reading about. It said that for men to feel like they have some meaning, they should feel like they are wanted. By their family. Or whoever is around them. If you don't feel like you're wanted, that responsibility comes with that. Then you feel like no matter what you do, it's not, you don't have meaning, you don't have worth. The problem is many times when you choose something, saying, no, I'm doing it for them. But in your head, you're frustrated because that's not what you want to do. Then when you're older, I can't believe I'm in a podcast talking about another podcast. There was this recent interview Samdesh did with Yuvraj Singh, Yuvraj Singh's father. If you watch that entire thing, it is a man who's frustrated about how his own career didn't go. And how that in some ways, when you actually watch a Yuvraj Singh interview, it's about how Yuvraj Singh's gone through so much as a child because of his father's frustrations.
Yes.
It will come to your kid. So you'd rather not be frustrated yourself.
Absolutely.
Because nahi to it will pass on to your kid and you'll give that whatever generational trauma to them.
I mean, I don't think I don't know about you, but my parents' generation thought so much. And I don't hold anything against them.
Yeah.
I mean, like if I come to think of it, at my son's age, they had left me in my nani's house and they were here. This is not a traumatic situation for me. It's fine. I understand. I never blame them for it. I think once you're 17, 18 years old, you're able to choose who will rule the country. Once you're at that age, from then on, you have no business accusing your parents.
Yeah.
Because I have seen people come from terrible households. By terrible, I mean like really difficult households where they've had abusive parents and broken families and, like all kinds of financially unstable and some really terrible families. And they turn out to be great people. Not saying successful, I'm saying they've turned out to be great people.
Yeah.
And I've seen kids come out of very proper families.
Yeah.
Seemingly normal families, good family structure, value system, good schooling, and they turn out to be assholes.
Yeah.
So what you become after you come into your own is completely your journey.
Yeah.
So if you're going to be taking credit for what you made in life, you then don't blame your parents for what you didn't become.
Yeah.
Because they have no business, There's a price for it. If I make certain choices, I think what I learned from my parents and their style of parenting, which was massively different from what I'm doing with my kid, is they never ever told me what to do. They never stopped me.
Yeah.
There was none of that. I mean, they told me not to like hurt someone and not to go anything illegal.
Yeah.
But like what profession I choose, how much I choose to study, what I'm doing, how much money I'm making. There was never a question.
Yeah.
It's completely your choice. And if you made a bad choice, then you have to
live with it.
Live with it.
Yeah.
And that is so liberating that now I know I made a bad choice. I have to live with it. I have to see it through.
Yeah.
And if I made a good choice, I'm proud of it. Was real.
Do you think we as parents today do too much of, okay, am I doing this right for my kid? Also our kids live in bubbles. Na? वो घर का एक bubble है, school का bubble है, how they go is a bubble, where they play is
even
a bubble.
the play area is a bubble.
Yeah. Now most play areas now becoming indoors also, which means that is like a literal bubble. Outdoor to hai nahi. I think back on my childhood, and I grew up in a small town, coastal Andhra Pradesh. Father's a doctor, and half a family are doctors. And they also had me when I was very young. I was like, they were like 20 and 24 when they had me. So they were kids themselves.
Yeah.
So I often tell my parents, I say, I understand my parents now a lot more after I became a parent.
No.
But I also realized they were children when they had me. I was much older. I had also seen some part of life. They were like, my dad was still studying when I was there.
Yeah.
So that is a whole different like context.
Yeah.
But the one thing you said is that if you are given the independence to make those choices and saying, you decided this, you've done this, you bear actions, bear consequences, you go with it. In trying to shield our children, गिर जाओगे सबको एक consolation medal मिल जाएगा. At some point, there's this, and I was reading this today, is that for children to grow to being successful, resilience is the most important thing.
It is.
Your kids are not resilient because you're protected at all times.
And you win and you lose. That is the truth of life.
Yeah.
There is no win and no lose, and everybody wins.
Yeah.
If that was the case, then we'd all be doing very well in life. So clearly, some win and some lose.
Yeah.
There's no shame in losing, but you have to be aware that you didn't win.
Yeah.
And it's okay.
Yeah.
And now what do we learn from here?
Yeah.
Why did we not win?
Yeah.
What is it that we could do better?
Yeah.
I'm not saying hunter lege unke piche jana chahiye, but you should not stop them from contemplating why they didn't win.
Yeah.
if they are unable to regulate win and loss and the emotions that come with it, you can help them regulate it. You can't be absolutely sad when they've lost. It's okay. You lost, it's fine. You do well. And if they won, they should not lose the plot. That, I think, is our responsibility as parents. But if they lose and we say, no, you never lost. ये ले बेटा, मैं Amazon से एक bronze medal order करके तुझे पहना देता हूँ. I don't know how it's going to help the children.
Which is why you see so many people today struggling with that first failure.
Yeah.
I meet many young people who I feel because I think about myself at 18, 20, 24. I think from the time I was 18 years old, 17 years old, till I was 26 years old, I have continuously failed.
Yeah.
Which is why now, कुछ भी होता है ना, I'm like, okay, चल जाएगा.
Yeah. What can, मतलब,
you've seen worse.
क्या ही हो जाएगा. No, I'll tell you, I was shooting with this one actor, friend of mine. And his father is a very well-established actor. So he obviously grew up in a certain amount of privilege, went to New York to study and everything. Now, I have grown up in not a very comfortable environment, financially. We were poor, let's just say that. Quite poor. So now every level of wealth that I possess is also a revelation to me. We didn't have many cars. We never had staff. Now I do. It has taken me years to come to this stage where I still have to mentally rehearse. And then I'm able to tell the person in the house to make me a cup of tea. Can you chai? And they said, so I was worried when I was talking to him. I told him that I'm worried for my child. He goes to school in this fancy car. He's always grown up with a driver around. He's always grown up with people working in the house. He's grown up in a fairly comfortable house. He never has to think about how do we buy the toys whenever we feel like? Why do we have so many toys? Just an abundance of it. I go to Hamleys and it's hard for me to find something that we don't already have. And it's not, I'm not flaunting it. It's just stupid. It's just accumulation or whatever, frustration of your childhood that you're अपने बच्चे पे निकाल रहे हो. मुझे नहीं मिला तो मैं अपने बच्चे को भून दूंगा खिलौनों से.
सब कुछ दूंगा.
So, and I told him that you must have had a fair amount of privilege and you turned out all right. You're a decent boy, you know, you talk well, you're well behaved. I feel worried for my child. I don't want him to grow up to think that he deserves this privilege. And then he said, young boy, he said, but that's his reality, na? You cannot force your reality onto him. Maybe someone poorer than you would have felt the same for you. अरे इनके पास तो साइकिल है, ये लोग रोज साइकिल से जाते हैं. ये लोग तो कभी-कभी रिक्शा में भी बैठ जाते हैं. हमारे पास तो रास्ते पे रहते हैं. So for them, so there's always that. And that was your reality. This is his reality. And I can give it to you in writing. When he grows up, he's going to talk about his struggles, which is going to baffle you. Because you'd be like, what? What do you mean you struggled?
That's where the story of कि मैं इतने मील चल के जाता था स्कूल के लिए. That's where it comes from.
कि वो उसका reality है. As long as he turns out to be a good person, it's fine. You know, you can't not give him that privilege and say कि नहीं मैं इसको मतलब भूखा रखूंगा ताकि ये part वो भी stupid हो जाएगा.
And that's the difference, right? Is that privilege won't go away. So I grew up reasonably privileged because I came from a family of doctors. Smaller town, मतलब obviously then you're a doctor family in a smaller town, मतलब तो मतलब
now see, like I feel so relieved. You turned out all right. You're so nice to talk to. So it's because fine, I guess.
At some point, your parents will, as long as you teach your kid the right values. And I sometimes think about something. Like there are a few things which I do and I do naturally now, even till date. And I find it very odd when a lot of people don't. It's like, you know, when someone rings the bell in in the house,
Yeah.
my first instinct is to be the person to open it. Even if there is somebody at home who might be help. I'm like, no, ghanti baja utha. Because my mom was always like, open the door, no? So
Yeah.
I was the kid who would always open the door for everybody come to the house. I was always the kid who would make sure and sits together at a table.
Yeah.
And it's simple things like saying thank you, calling someone older than you, sir.
Yes.
वो एक ये सब छोटी चीजें होती है, but if you actually give your kid enough of those,
Yes.
बाकी सब निकल जाएगा.
बाकी ये हो जाता है और वो थोड़ा तो वो खुद भी एक्सप्लोर करेगा ना.
Yeah.
सब तो मैं नहीं सिखा सकता.
Yeah.
कुछ तो वो भी सीखेगा अपने आप.
I think the assumption is that fathers don't know what to do.
Yeah.
There's that scene with the father in the testing facility, and he's like, parent है तो parent की तरह treat करो ना, which is so true. Because most dads, I have a friend who said that most dads get away with one thing, weaponized incompetence. कि we have found a way to weaponize incompetence.
Yeah,
मैं तो कर नहीं सकता, मुझे तो होगा ही नहीं, तुमने ही बोल दिया मैं नहीं कर सकता.
Yeah.
तो anyway can't do it, तो बताई दो क्या करना कर लूंगा.
Yeah.
But at some point, if there is some trust
Yes.
that you are not incompetent,
Yeah.
but you also have to earn that trust,
Earn that trust.
then there is at least some.
Yeah. Like in my case, I feel I am overconfident and I screw up. I feel I have it under control. I can do it. Most things I actually can, or I think I can. And some things I can't. But I have an approach that how wrong can I go with this? It cannot be rocket science. Yeah. There are 8 billion people in the world.
Yeah.
This has happened 8 billion times.
Yeah.
So it's not ऐसा कुछ नया तो यूरेका नहीं हो रहा है यहाँ पे. So how wrong will I go? I'm here to take care of this child. I'm going to get through it.
Yeah.
Maybe not in the first time, but the second time, the third time, eventually I'll find my own groove with it. Like my wife used to put the child to sleep till the longest time because he was also feeding on her, and and I always felt that I should be able to put him to sleep. Yeah. And now I found it. I put him to sleep. I listen. Maybe he's also like now he's 4, so he listens to stories. And I also make up long stories, and my stories become like I construct my stories from interesting to boring to pure bland. And that's his like cue to sleep.
Yeah.
It starts very interesting so that he stops running, and then it gets a little boring, and then he falls asleep, and then it's just bland.
Yeah.
Then he falls asleep.
How did becoming a parent also affects your relationship with your partner?
Yeah.
How was that for both of you? Because most people don't ask this question. They'll never ask you. They'll say, how is the mom?
Yeah.
Bachcha kaisa hai? Rarely ask you, how is the dad? But also never really think about how it really affects a couple.
Yeah.
How was that for both of you?
It has evolved, I would say. It took its own sweet time. And I'm also a little averse to any kind of feedback in life. Yeah. Especially if I know that it's come from Google or Instagram. I have huge aversions to it. मुझे लगा कैलिफोर्निया में कोई अपने कमरे में बैठ के पॉडकास्ट करके ज्ञान दे रहा है, वो मेरे को मत बताओ. तो उससे मैं नहीं सीखूंगा. So I will you tell me what you didn't like and I'll work on it. That I know how to do. And I'm very open to knowing you didn't do this right. I've heard it all my life, so I can take that. I didn't do this right. Okay, now let me work on it. So this happened, and I think it took us good 2-3 years for us to realize that we need to find our own time. We need to find our own pace, and we need to find time for ourselves, basically. Nurture our relationship as well. That friendship has to come back. Somewhere, I think the first thing that suffers is friendship. Friendship with your wife, friendship with your friends. That's what actually the show is all about. It's about friendship. Because that's the first victim when you become a parent. Nothing not to blame the child, but it just naturally.
And the only friends you have left are other parents, because non-parents don't understand.
Non-parents don't understand.
They're like, "ठीक है, you're my friend. I understand कि you're going through something right now, but ये मेरा baggage नहीं है. नहीं है. और उनको नहीं समझ आता है. तो
So I think we are also in that process of rediscovering our friendship together.
Yeah.
That's most important. And it's lovely. I've tried to. I think it's harder for me to change things on my own.
Yeah.
As I started speaking right now, I just realized why. Because if you've been told from a very young age, and if you've started earning and been on your own, and you've been told that you're a good person, you do things the right way, you don't do illegal things, don't even break a signal, you're that kind of guy. So you have also convinced yourself that I do most things right. So for your brain to now receive a signal saying you didn't do something right is very baffling. It just really breaks your equilibrium, that how can that be? How can I be insensitive? Or how can I not care? Because that's me. I care, I'm sensitive, I'm a good person. Everybody's told me that. And now I'm also I'm convinced that's the role I'm playing. So but now I always go back, take my time and see where is this coming from. Maybe I need to alter a few things and see the results. I'll give you a simple example. In our household, nobody ate together. Not because there was any problem, but everybody was busy. And dad would be busy. He would be in his writing desk. My mom would be busy taking care of the entire family. Sister was also a theatre actor. She's doing her thing. So people would eat as and when they came. There'd be some food in the house, and nahi hai to bana lo aur kha lo. It was not an issue. But my wife comes from a family where they would sit together, eat, and they had this thing, which I find very beautiful, but it just didn't come naturally to me. And it took a long time for me to I just didn't understand. I'm hungry. There is food here, but you don't feel like eating. So what do I do now?
Why should I wait?
Why should I wait? Or you are eating right now, but I'm not hungry. And why do we have to do this together? Why can't you just eat and I'll eat, But now I realize it really mattered to her. And this small change really makes a big difference to her. It makes her feel like I care. So stuff like that.
It's those
things.
Small rituals. I think it's so interesting to say this now. Me and my wife Pooja, we talk about this often because now we joke that our conversations are like therapy sessions, because now we've terminology we seek liya na. I understand there's something going on. Even the language, we all use like the internet has taught us language. So one of the things we realized was that we obviously cannot spend all our time with our kids. Neither can we spend all our time with each other. Although she and I mean, one of the good parts is that we have worked together since the time we have met each other. So we've always been in the same workplace. So we are always around each other, but doesn't mean spending time together. Like I function very nicely in solitude. I'm like, yaar, मैं अपने कोने में बैठ जाऊँगा, कोई disturb मत करना. I'll come and meet you when I want to meet you. She in the center, she's the CEO, she does the whole. And we realized that when we had kids, I was doing my thing, she was doing her thing. I was doing night shift, she was doing days.
Day shift.
I would do diaper, she would do feeding. So there's no overlap. So office में overlap नहीं है because we're doing our separate things. At work there is no, at home there's no overlap. At some point during COVID, we said we should have some things we do together as a cyclical process. I started this with my daughter. With my daughter, I do this every morning. I pick her up from bed and go to the balcony in our apartment, and I'm like, say hello to the world together. Roz subah, we will say hello. And now she got bigger, she's 7.5. Pick her up and do that. Haven't done that with my son yet. Karunga. With Pooja, it's like every Friday evening we will spend the evening together, pack the kids off to sleep, just hang. We'll order something. Have a drink. We'll just hang. It's one of those evenings. This Friday evening, unless ye miss nahi ho sakta, we have to spend together. Just let's chat. Let's not talk about work. Let's not talk about stuff we will talk about. issues at home about with someone cooking, something nahi aaya, all that stuff. Listen, I cannot tell you the impact that small thing has had. Or the simple, now with both the kids in the evening, we have family time. It's like a sit and read a book together. And my son doesn't care. He wants to play with the ball and a bat and throw things around. And I feel like that's the only way because you lose that connection, like you said. Like there'll be a few years of that friendship, everything is gone because you're so like, you're in this cycle of like, subah utho, you clock in. And you're just in that cycle, and then you clock out to go to sleep. And you also then slowly start finding your friends again. Because जब तक वो नहीं किया ना, my friends also were like, ये वैसे भी नहीं आएगा बाहर.
I mean, they leave you out. And they have no choice. Because they also have to have fun, I guess. But,
there's that one, I remember when I was watching the show, there's one more aspect which I kept thinking about, is that there is that one scene where the husband who's a physiotherapist wants to go out. बोलो मैं जाऊं? And it's that whole, and it is, I mean, every person who is in a couple who have a kid know this. क्या ये तो मेरा break का time था. You're going out to meet your friends. Be it either way. It can be the wife, can be the husband also. I cannot tell you how much I have smiled, and I literally rewinded it and called Pooja, said, watch this. Because the number of times I feel we as couples don't say things.
Yes.
क्या I'm also tired. Do you really need to go? नहीं बोले, go if you want to. तो वो बोल दिया ना, then we are like stuck. Then we are in that space. That will not go on for a while.
Yeah. And I think like most men are, or a huge category of men are unable to just like read subtext at home.
Subtitle नहीं दिखा.
नहीं वो नहीं देखते. उनको बोलो कि भूख लगी, okay, I can get you food. But they will not look at you and guess that you might be hungry. That doesn't come very naturally to them. Or maybe it's just me, I guess.
I want to go back to the years before, the overnight success happened, as we all say. Tell me that period, like how was that phase for you as an individual? How did you kind of deal with everything that, because obviously you were doing theatre, you also acted in serials. But वो Bombay का ना एक लंबा loop होता है, where you go through this process of, and I've always wondered, there are people who are born in Bombay, there are people who come to Bombay like me. There is something this city does in that earlier phase till you feel like, forget made it, I made that first step in. It teaches you a lot of things. What did Bombay teach you? What did Mumbai teach you, as we call it, through that phase?
One was independence. It really taught me how to be on my own. So my Nana's house, where I was there for the first 3-4 years, they were well off, very privileged. I still remember the first day my parents got me to the place in Bhinder that we lived in. It was just 4 male ki building thi, and 4th floor there was a 1-room kitchen. And the 1 room had a slab. That was the kitchen. Very Western architecture, I must say. Kamre mein hi open kitchen concept. So, and as we were climbing the stairs, I thought my dad is doing really well because this house has too many rooms. And then he told me, nahi beta, wo sab apne nahi, usme aur log rehte, apna yahi hai. I could not believe for a few days that this is it. Like, this is all there is to it for all 4 of us. And then that life also teaches you to do a lot of things yourself because there's no choice. My dad leaves for work. She has to cook, पानी भरना है, ये करना है, बच्चों को पढ़ाना है. I have to go to school, come back. She has to drop my sister to school, bring her back, feed us. There was no other choice. So obviously she can't always be attending to me or my sister. So there are a lot of things that we are supposed to do on our own. Feed ourselves, entertain ourselves. there was no concept of me telling my mom I'm bored at home.
iPad भी नहीं था.
We didn't have cable.
Yeah.
Then we found a hack कि वो तार डाल के cable आता था. We found that. So, but it just taught me to be on my own.
Yeah.
Meet my friends, spend my day somewhere or the other, be at the neighbor's place.
Yeah.
As we were growing older, we were told to do household chores because we had to help out in the house. नीचे जा bread ले आ, यहाँ जा वो ले आ, ये कर ले. 1 or 2 years, my mom would walk us to school, and then रास्ता समझ में आ गया, तो then now you go to school.
Yeah.
So by the time we were in class 2 or 3, we were walking to school, which was, now when I think about it, pretty far from our house. But you had to take that leap of faith. I guess my parents had to take that leap of faith.
There's no option.
There was no option. The kids have gone to school, they've gone to school. You go to school and you come back home. So there is that trust कि वो आएगा वापस घर पे. लेट हो गया तो पड़ेगी. क्यों लेट हो गया? You know. So you also understood responsibility and all these life lessons that you learn. And as you grew older, you understood finances. You understood, like, there was no lie in our house. My parents never lied to me. I would see some other households where parents would sort of lie to them that we have everything, or we can do this, or we are well off. My parents never made that. They said, no, beta, we have this much. And this is how much we can do. And that's all there is to it. And there was no shame in it. And we lived with a lot of pride. We grew up with that. I always, in my head, thought that I am actually quite well off. I'm just in the wrong place. It's just like one day somebody is going to come and tell us that, no. You are actually well off. You're living like a poor pauper. That was the story I kept telling myself. And then we grew up. Bombay was very kind to me. With local trains or whatever, school, college, and everything. The city always, I cannot live in any other city in the world. I talk about it every year to my wife that let's move to Italy, let's move to Uttarakhand, let's move to Kashmir, let's move to Jodhpur, to London or whatever. But there is no better city than Mumbai. Right now it's all dug up and I hate it. But I cannot tell you how great a city this is to live. And I've lived here all my life. I've seen it change quite dramatically. But it's just the people. It's the people of Bombay. They'll always, कोई तो हाथ पकड़ के कहीं
लेके जाएगा. Yeah. Two things you've said, right? One thing said earlier, कि you want people to finish work at a certain time, go home. You don't want yelling on a set. Two things which actually you don't find in sets. Like Bombay में you come to work in the industry, मतलब day night भूल जाओ, घर जाना भूल जाओ. I remember when I first came as an intern here, मतलब I used to go home once a week. Right, once a week go home, take a bath, get a new set of clothes, वापस जाओ office. And the other thing is, don't yell. At some point, and I feel, and I don't know if, I don't think it's an industry thing. Do you feel we've lost just general respect when you work with other people? Like there's I think I was watching something which you said. You said there's sometimes we forget dignity of labor. And we tend to forget that a lot more now than ever before. Is that why you have these things?
Yeah, and I also feel that I mean, firstly, I feel that if I can only demand what I can deliver. So if I demand a certain amount of respect and dignity, I have to deliver that to everyone around. If I'm not able to deliver that, then I have no business demanding that. Whether it's from my watchman or whether it's from my producer or from the prime minister, whoever it is. We live in a democracy. He has the greatest people, the most privileged people have as much right to dignity as a pauper. Everybody does. And I'm a very, very staunch believer in that. So that's why, one, it stems from there. and I think people shut off, and it's just some people just don't know how to communicate.
Yeah. You faced a lot of that?
Yeah, a lot. As growing up, I've been to TV shows where they've yelled at me, and especially as an actor, you shut down, because you're anyways in the center of everything, and then if someone makes you feel small, you go into a shell. So then I was like, I'm not going to do these things. So far, I've managed pretty well. I've directed plays all my life. I've directed this show. I've directed a bunch of other things. I'd never felt the need to yell at my crew.
Yeah.
Yes, there are moments when you lose your temper a little bit, but it's always followed by regret. Like in this show, we shot for 42 days. I lost my cool twice for exactly 2.5 minutes.
Yeah.
And it was immediately followed by a lot of embarrassment and regret that you did that. You shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
Could have handled it better.
And how do you react in those moments when that realization comes in? Because a lot of people realize it but don't say anything.
No, I always apologize. I have no shame in that. If I've yelled at someone or said something, no matter how junior that person is, I'll be the first person to go and say, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do this. I should have had better control, but I did yell, and it's my fault. I'll be better next time.
I ask you this because I think a lot of people also feel that, अरे मैंने sorry बोल दिया, so then I've lost
Power.
that authority, lost power.
Yeah.
How can I say sorry? But sorry, then they'll think I'm weak. Right? And we don't realize that saying sorry is actually one of the most powerful things you can do. But most people believe that it's a sign of weakness.
Yeah. See, गुस्से में चुपती बात बोलना आसान है. कोई फुहड़ अनपढ़ आदमी भी वो कर सकता है. गुस्से में चुपती बात ना बोलना और मुद्दे की बात बोलना, पते की बात बोलना मुश्किल है. उसके लिए आपको, इसीलिए हम इंसान हैं. हम भेड़ नहीं है, हम कुत्ता नहीं है, हम भालू नहीं है, हम इंसान हैं. हमको सबसे अच्छा प्रोसेसर दिया है भगवान ने. He cracked AI much before we did. So yeah, if गुस्से में आपने चुपती बात बोल दी तो आपने तो सबसे बेवकूफ़ी वाला, सबसे जहालत वाला काम किया है. क्योंकि वो तो कोई भी कर सकता है ना. आप क्या फ़ायदा आपकी इतनी पढ़ाई लिखाई का, आप दुनिया घूमे, आपने इतनी फिल्में देखी, किताबें पढ़ी, उसका क्या फ़ायदा? क्योंकि वो तो कोई भी कर सकता है. आपको देख के लगता है कि यार इस आदमी ने तो दुनिया में कुछ भी नहीं पढ़ा है, ये किसी लायक नहीं है, वो भी ये काम कर सकता है.
करेक्ट.
गुस्से में तो चुपती बात बोल देगा आपको, पर गुस्से में आप चुपती बात ना बोलो, वो मुश्किल है. सो इफ you've done that, then you've done something very, very weak. If you've not done that, then you have done something very strong. That you are upset and you were still able to articulate.
What do you know now that you wished you had learnt when you were younger?
I feel now more than ever I'm able to assert myself. I wasn't able to assert myself a lot of times growing up. There were times when I knew I could do this, or I knew things, but I didn't speak. I didn't speak up for myself enough growing up. There are barely like 2 or 3 times in my life when I really felt that I need to stand up for myself. No matter what people feel or think of me, I have to do this for my own sanity and for my mood. So I wish I had that confidence earlier. It's also this whole हमारी middle class parenting is also not very forgiving. If you've been in a fight, the first thing is तूने गलती की होगी.
Correct.
If you lost something, तुझसे कुछ गड़बड़ हुआ होगा. So, and that's what they learned. My mother had me when she was 19. We didn't have any exposure. तो उनको यही समझ था कि यार तेरी गलती होगी, तुम ठीक करो, दुनिया चाहे कुछ भी करे. तो and that stayed with me. Unknowingly, it was very, very damaging because I had very little confidence in most things. And also, me not being good at studies didn't help. So, वहाँ भी मैं बहुत धुलाई हुई मेरी. तो the inherent feeling is that I'm probably not good at this, or I probably deserve this, or you know. Much later in life, I started just speaking for myself, speaking up that no, I won't take this, or I at least learned how to walk away. If I found a place where I wasn't happy, I would just walk away. I said, no consequence can be worse than what I've been through already. So I walk away.
Walking away can be tough, no? Because you're worried about यार लोग क्या सोचेंगे, चलो adjust कर लेते हैं. I think we're going back to one of the things we spoke of earlier is that we're so stuck in what we believe the world requires of us कि भूल जाते हैं कि at the beginning you have to first take care of yourself.
Yeah.
If you don't take care of yourself, don't put that one oxygen mask on your face before you put on the person next to you, then you will only suffocate. There's nothing else you can do with it.
Yeah. It's very, very important. I learned it from my dad also. There is an inherent genetic coding in our, especially from my father's side of the family, I think, of loneliness. We are loners. We function well when we are alone. So most men in our family are like on their own, sitting in their room, practically doing nothing. But they just need too much time by themselves. Like unreasonable amounts of time by themselves. Like there are so many times when I wake up before most people in the house. Not because I'm some gym freak or anything. I just need that time. मैं ऐसे आत्मा की तरह सुबह भटकता हूँ घर में अकेला, कॉफी बना रहा हूँ, बैठा हूँ, पेड़ देख रहा हूँ. But I feel I function better when I have that time. I'm able to deal with people better.
I'm exactly like that. I need that, for me, that late night and early in the morning. मतलब 1 घंटा कम सो लिया चलेगा.
Yeah.
But give me that little bit of time in the morning. Or night lesser now as you get older, वो night नहीं होता.
नहीं होता, हाँ.
Early morning हो जाता है.
Yeah.
But it's, it's almost like you're booting up your own mind.
Yes.
Because once you start and everybody else is awake, तुम खत्म. Then you're like into it.
Then this is gone.
Then treadmill is on.
WhatsApp आएंगे, कुछ होगा, चालू हो जाता है. So that you can't stop. But then you need to find that.
Yeah.
Me time is very important.
Yeah. I have to ask you a final question. If someone's been watching this throughout and you want them to take one thing away, कि यार मैंने एक चीज सीखा है पूरा conversation देख के, what would you want them to take away?
It's a big responsibility. No, I think I'll tell you what I have learned over the years. That you are, आप उतने important नहीं हो. You're fine, So stop taking most things seriously. Stop taking things too hard. I think the world does not revolve around you. And it revolves around you.
Yeah.
So think that it revolves around you when you are taking actions in life.
Yeah.
And stop thinking it's revolving around you when you receive the reactions. Because it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. And I'm not saying it pessimistically. I'm actually saying it very, very optimistically. Most things that you feel, ऐसा कैसे बोल दिया, ऐसा कैसे सोच लिया मेरे बारे में, और इसने जान के ऐसा कुछ किया होगा कि जिससे, और ये लोग मिल के एक षड्यंत्र रच रहे हैं ताकि ये मुझे ऐसा महसूस कराएं. इतने महत्वपूर्ण होते हैं ही नहीं हो आप. बहुत सारे महत्वपूर्ण लोग भी उतने महत्वपूर्ण नहीं है. तो वो तो सोचना बंद कर देना चाहिए. And I think more so, I mean, if my kid watches this, I think if ever you reach a place of privilege where you have people working for you, whether it's your maid or you are the CEO and you have 3,000 people working for you, just think that someone in the universe, whether it's God or the superpower, whatever it is, it thought that you were capable of handling this responsibility. So you are just a funnel through which he wants to facilitate and irrigate these many lives. You are not the provider.
Yeah.
You are just the funnel.
Thank you so much. It's been fabulous.
Thank you.
So now it's been a nice, long-winding conversation, which I enjoy. But
Yeah.
thank you so much for doing this. Thanks for making the time.
Thank
I know
you,
you had a
yeah.
long day also.
Yeah. No, not at all. I'm good.